gentlemen, Walter presents Snow Lady. That's Darcelle 15 and Company. Hurry! Hurry!
Let me get this straight again. You claim that you can fix this radio set so it'll tune in programs that were broadcast 20 years ago?
I'm rewiring it so I can tune it to different years instead of different stations, you see.
No, I don't.
Oh, look, Tootsie, according to the McGee theory of radiodynamics, which I'm the guy that thought it up, I claim that when you hear a broadcast once, that ain't necessarily the end of it, you see. I mean, that they're still out there, bouncing around in the air, waiting for somebody to tune them in again. And I'm the guy that can do it.
It'll never work, McGee.
I guess it's maybe working, Molly.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Darcelle 15 and Company. And as thank you. Thank you very much. And tonight we have with us from KBIZ, Jimmy Hollister.
Good evening. Good evening.
And Jonathan Kay from KBIZ. Old Time Radio. And that was Fibber McGee and Molly?
Fibber McGee and Molly with the now late Jim Jordan, who just passed away at the age of 92 a couple of weeks ago. The reason we did that is that Victor Ives and I have started KBIX a couple of years ago. It's something that we've wanted to do for the past 20 years. And we have been buying, especially Victor has been buying the rights. So we actually own Fibber McGee and Molly. We then give royalties to, I guess now it'll be Jim Jordan's estate. So we own a lot of rights to a lot of shows you hear on KBIX AM 1290.
5,000 powerful watts all over the United States.
And growing.
And growing. But so you actually bought the episodes that we heard when we were kids.
That's right. We have Fibber McGee and Molly. We've just put on the Hornet. Let's see, the Shadow, the Green Hornet.
The Whistler.
And the Whistler. This is Jonathan Kay, who does afternoons on KBIX.
We were going to get to Jonathan.
Yeah.
Jonathan, do you when you play these, do you play the tapes, and are you a disc jockey?
We like to say radio broadcaster, but yeah, disc jockey's fine.
Disc jockey.
No difference.
But you play old time music also. I mean, you play albums.
Not very much music. KBIX, we don't play music very much. We the vintage radio shows are the shows that we want to stress because that's the greatest entertainment of all, and that's what we're playing the most at KBIX.
Do you know what is great about this, Jim? Is there is a generation of people, my children included, that grew up on the mother's lap staring at the television, never, ever having to use their imagination.
It's all theater of the mind.
It's when we were kids and we would hurry home because Jack Armstrong was going to be on.
He's on every day, folks, on KBIX.
Every day.
We also own that.
What about at 10 to 10:15 every night? Every night I could sneak the radio on when I was a kid from 10 to 10:15. I Love a Mystery. Do you remember I Love a Mystery?
Oh, Jack, Doc, and Reggie.
Yes. And all I can remember is that they used to always go to bat caves, the bat guano. Do you remember those episodes? They did. It's true, isn't it? Isn't that true? You have those episodes?
Yes, in the cave.
All right, in the cave with the bat guano. It's wonderful. Now you can buy it at Fred Meyer.
Sure.
Yeah.
By the pound.
So, what are your operating hours? I mean,
We are 24 hours a day, and we're adding all the time more old-time radio shows. To tell you the truth, I've been in Portland radio for almost 20 years, and there are a lot of stations that are quite candidly the same music, the same this, the same that. We wanted to do something that was different. We are all getting a little long in the tooth, as it were. The medium age is coming up quite a bit. A lot of us remember these old-time radio shows, and so that's why we started buying them back in '71, and I was another radio station, KEX, and how it all started, I went down to San Francisco and bought a couple of episodes and came back, and I begged Vic. I said, let me play it. He said, we don't own the rights, we can get sued. I said, just one time. So we did it, and the phones rang off the hook, and Vic got on the phone and said, we want to buy, and he's been collecting. In fact, that isn't why he's here tonight. He's down in California trying to buy a real big show that we're not talking about yet. No.
And you introduced the shows, Jonathan, and Do you do backgrounds? Do backgrounds, or do you let it run? I mean, do you do an in-depth background on Fibber McGee and Molly and when they played and what they?
Well, not necessarily. We run a program in the evenings called the Golden Age of Radio, and that's a syndicated program that Victor Ives has made. And what he does is he makes a voice track of himself saying, this is broadcast from 1944, April 3rd, and he does a little bit of background, and then they incorporate that with the shows and press it into a record that's actually sent out to subscribing stations.
We're syndicated on 144 stations from border to border and coast to coast. We're on in Buffalo, New York, we're on in San Diego, we're on in Los Angeles, we're on in Miami, we're on in Denver, and these are called an hour a night, and that is the golden age of radio. We do a little more explaining there. Then sometimes in the morning, we are 24 hours a day. We start at midnight with called Mystery at Midnight, a half-hour show. Then we have Owl Theater, and the only time we play music, which is 40s and 50s vintage music, would be between 1 o'clock and 5 o'clock. Then at 5 o'clock, we start with the great Gildersleeve, you know, ooh, Leroy, and all that.
5 o'clock in the evening.
5 o'clock in the morning.
In the morning.
And then Fibber McGee and Molly, and then of course we have all the services because a lot of people listen. We have traffic and we have news and sports. But interspersed is maybe an Amos and Andy one day, and we also have little serials like we're running the Superman right now. We had what was.
Jack Armstrong.
No, Jack Armstrong.
Cliffhangers,
yeah.
Speed
Speed Gibson of the International Secret Police. What is interesting about listening to these old-time radio shows now is the attitudes that we had towards people that are allies now. And sometimes